Today we're going to talk about the daily lives and challenges faced by our brave astronauts living in a weightless environment far from Earth. Space is that endless void we all admire and dream of exploring. But have you ever wondered how astronauts live up there? Let's embark on this challenging and fascinating journey together. We'll explore the unknown aspects of life in space, the physiological and psychological challenges faced by astronauts, their eating habits, sleep patterns, and much more. If you're ready, fasten your seatbelts, and let's set off on this exciting journey into space. One of the biggest challenges of living in space is weightlessness and its effects on the body. The microgravity environment in space overturns many of the physical rules we are accustomed to on Earth, leading to various changes in astronauts' bodies. Firstly, muscle and bone loss is a significant issue in a weightless environment. Without the force of gravity, our muscles and bones don't bear the usual load, leading to muscle weakening and bone density loss. Astronauts counteract this loss by exercising regularly every day. Space stations are equipped with specially designed exercise equipment like treadmills, bikes, and resistance devices. These exercises help maintain muscle and bone strength. Another effect of weightlessness is fluid distribution. On Earth, gravity pulls blood and other body fluids towards our legs. In space, these fluids redistribute towards the upper body, causing astronauts' faces to swell, their noses to become congested, and headaches to occur. Additionally, increased intracranial pressure can lead to vision problems. Scientists are continually working to understand and mitigate these effects. Weightlessness also affects the cardiovascular system. The heart exerts less effort in space, leading to cardiac muscle weakening. On long-duration space missions, these changes can cause serious health issues upon return to Earth. Therefore, astronauts undergo regular medical checkups to monitor their health. Despite all these challenges, astronauts exhibit incredible resilience and adaptation while performing their missions in space. Now, let's take a look at the psychological challenges of this harsh environment and how astronauts cope with them. The psychological challenges of living in space are as significant as the physiological ones. Astronauts on long-duration missions face serious psychological pressures such as isolation, loneliness, and stress. These challenges can affect their personal health and performance on their missions. Isolation is one of the biggest challenges for astronauts on space missions. Spending months, sometimes even years, in a confined space with the same people limits social interactions. This can lead to mood swings and even depression. NASA and other space agencies provide regular psychological support to ensure astronauts' mental well-being. Astronauts have regular sessions with psychologists and share their emotional states to receive support. Loneliness is another common issue for astronauts on space missions. Being away from loved ones and their familiar social environment can lead to emotional difficulties over time. Astronauts try to alleviate this loneliness by having video calls with their loved ones and staying connected through messages from Earth. Stress is an inevitable part of life in space. The complexity of the missions, technical malfunctions, emergencies, and intense work schedules can cause astronauts to be constantly under stress. Astronauts use various techniques to manage stress, such as meditation, deep breathing exercises, and keeping a journal. Coping with psychological challenges in space ensures that astronauts maintain their mental health and successfully complete their missions. Psychological support and resilience training help astronauts thrive in this challenging environment. An important aspect of life in space is nutrition. Astronauts need to consume balanced and nutritious food to stay healthy and energetic. However, eating in space is quite different from on Earth and requires special methods and considerations. First, let's look at how food is transported and stored in space. Space missions use special packaging methods to ensure that food lasts for a long time. Food is usually freeze-dried or canned, allowing it to be stored for long periods without spoiling while retaining its nutritional value. Additionally, vacuum-sealed packages are used to prevent food from floating around in the microgravity environment. Astronauts face many challenges when eating. In a weightless environment, food and drinks need to be consumed carefully. Liquids can float in droplets, which can damage equipment, Therefore, astronauts use special containers and straws for drinking. Food is eaten with special spoons and forks, carefully taken out of their packages. Food selection is also important. On long-duration space missions, astronauts need to have a varied and balanced diet. The menu typically includes protein bars, fruits and vegetables, meat products, grains, and desserts. By consuming these foods, astronauts get the vitamins, minerals, and energy they need. Astronauts also use special systems to meet their water needs in space. On the space station, recycling and reusing water is crucial. This process involves even purifying astronauts' sweat and urine to convert it back into drinking water, ensuring efficient use of water resources. Food and nutrition in space are vital for maintaining astronauts' health. A balanced diet helps them stay physically and mentally strong. Another important challenge of living in space is maintaining a sleep schedule and managing sleep problems. The microgravity environment and the constant operation of equipment on the spacecraft can affect astronauts' sleep quality. So, how do astronauts sleep in space and manage sleep problems? Firstly, astronauts sleep in special sleep modules in space. These modules provide privacy and reduce noise. To sleep in a weightless environment, astronauts use sleeping bags. These bags are secured to special attachment points inside the module, preventing astronauts from floating around while sleeping. Sleeping bags help astronauts maintain a comfortable sleeping position by stabilizing their bodies. Maintaining a sleep schedule in space is more difficult than on Earth. On Earth, natural light cycles help regulate our wakefulness and sleepiness at certain times of the day. However, in space, there is no natural light cycle, and astronauts rely on artificial lighting to maintain their sleep schedule. On the International Space Station, ISS, lighting systems are adjusted at specific times to help regulate astronauts' biological clocks. Sleep problems are also common in space. The noise from constantly operating equipment, the confined spaces of the modules, and the microgravity environment can negatively affect sleep quality. Additionally, the stress of the missions and intense work schedules can make it difficult for astronauts to fall asleep. Therefore, astronauts use various strategies to help them sleep, such as relaxation techniques before bed, listening to calming music, or meditating. NASA and other space agencies continuously monitor astronauts' sleep schedules and sleep quality. This monitoring is crucial for identifying sleep problems and taking necessary measures. Having a healthy sleep schedule directly affects astronauts' performance on their missions and their overall health. One of the biggest risks of living in space is radiation. Earth's atmosphere and magnetic field protect us from harmful radiation from the sun and space. However, in space, these protective layers are absent, exposing astronauts to high levels of radiation. So, how serious is this radiation risk, and how do astronauts deal with it? Space radiation can come in the form of energetic particles from the sun and galactic cosmic rays. These particles can damage cells and DNA, leading to cancer and other health problems. The effects of radiation depend on the duration of exposure and the levels of radiation encountered. Space agencies take various measures to reduce astronauts' exposure to radiation. Spacecraft and structures like the ISS are designed to minimize radiation exposure. These structures are coated with special materials that absorb and reflect radiation. Additionally, astronauts use personal dosimeters that continuously monitor radiation levels. These devices measure the amount of radiation exposure and ensure that necessary precautions are taken to stay within safe limits. Solar storms can significantly increase radiation risk. Therefore, solar activities are continuously monitored, and astronauts are warned during periods of high radiation. In such cases, astronauts move to more shielded areas of the ISS, and high-risk activities like spacewalks are postponed. Radiation risk becomes even more critical on long-duration space missions. Missions to Mars, for instance, will face significant radiation challenges. For such missions, advanced radiation shielding and underground shelters are being developed. In conclusion, radiation risk in space is a significant challenge, but scientists and engineers are continually working to minimize this risk. Astronauts, through their training and protective measures, effectively manage this hazard. Another significant challenge of living in space is dealing with spacecraft and equipment issues. Working in space is highly complex and technically demanding. Astronauts must tackle these issues to successfully complete their missions. Spacecraft require constant maintenance and repair. Structures like the International Space Station, ISS, consist of thousands of components, each requiring regular inspection. Astronauts undergo extensive training to perform these inspections and necessary repairs. In space, even the smallest malfunction can lead to significant problems, making the flawless operation of everything critical. Technical malfunctions are another frequent challenge for astronauts. Electrical systems, life support units, and scientific equipment can all experience failures. Astronauts must quickly address these malfunctions. In such situations, they work in coordination with ground control centers and use their knowledge and skills to resolve issues. Spacewalks, or extravehicular activities, are where technical challenges are most intense. Astronauts working outside the spacecraft are exposed to the harsh conditions of space. Working in these conditions requires significant physical and mental endurance. During spacewalks, astronauts take strict safety measures and meticulously plan every movement. Emergencies are an inevitable part of space missions. Fire, air leaks, or power outages require astronauts to respond swiftly and accurately. For such situations, astronauts rely on detailed emergency protocols and regular drills. Training simulations cover every possible scenario in detail, teaching astronauts how to handle these situations effectively. Spacecraft and equipment issues are a critical part of the challenges astronauts face. However, with their training and experience, they effectively manage these problems. For astronauts on space missions, emergencies are always a possibility and can be life-threatening. Emergencies in space can include fires, air leaks, and power outages. The ability of astronauts to handle these emergencies is crucial for both their lives and the success of their missions. Fire in space is one of the most frightening scenarios for astronauts. In an enclosed environment with limited oxygen, a fire can quickly become uncontrollable. Astronauts are trained in fire extinguishing techniques, and the ISS is strategically equipped with fire extinguishers. In the event of a fire, astronauts quickly access firefighting equipment and work to control the fire. Additionally, doors between modules are closed to prevent the fire from spreading. Air leaks are another life-threatening emergency in space. A meteor impact or technical failure can cause an air leak. In such a case, astronauts must quickly identify the source of the leak and seal it. The ISS is equipped with sensors that detect air leaks and provide immediate alerts. Astronauts use special patching and sealing techniques to stop the leak. Power outages can also cause significant problems in space. Failures in electrical systems can affect life support systems and other critical equipment. Astronauts use backup systems and power sources for such emergencies. Additionally, they are trained to repair electrical systems quickly and efficiently. Dealing with emergencies requires rigorous training and preparation. NASA and other space agencies conduct regular drills to ensure astronauts are prepared for any scenario. These drills help astronauts remain calm and act correctly during real emergencies. Surviving in space requires not only technical knowledge and skills, but also resilience and mental preparedness. Astronauts manage to stay strong both physically and psychologically in these challenging conditions. Returning to Earth after spending months or even years in space poses a significant challenge for astronauts. Living in a weightless environment for an extended period makes it difficult for astronauts to readjust to Earth's gravity. So, what challenges do astronauts face during their return to Earth, and how is this process managed? Firstly, readjusting to gravity is physiologically challenging. After spending a long time in space, muscles and bones weaken, and changes occur in the cardiovascular system. Upon returning to Earth, astronauts must cope with these changes. Readapting to gravity can cause balance and coordination issues. Astronauts undergo a comprehensive rehabilitation process with physiotherapists and doctors after returning to Earth. This process includes muscle and bone strengthening exercises, as well as balance and coordination training. Another challenge of returning to Earth is psychological adaptation. During their extended time in space, astronauts become accustomed to the weightless environment and the confined space of the spacecraft. Upon returning to Earth, adjusting psychologically to these changes can take time. Reuniting with loved ones, adapting to their social environment, and returning to daily life is a significant transition for astronauts. During this process, psychological support is provided to help ease their adaptation. Returning to Earth also involves completing missions and evaluating collected data. After returning, astronauts report the data they collected and the experiments they conducted during their missions. This data is analyzed by scientists and provides important information for future space missions. The process of returning to Earth is meticulously planned and managed to ensure astronauts complete their missions successfully and readjust to Earth healthily. The top priority for space agencies is to ensure astronauts return home safely and healthily after a long and challenging mission. The challenges of living in space are overcome through the courage, resilience, and skills of astronauts. Facing numerous challenges such as weightlessness, radiation risk, technical malfunctions, and psychological pressures, astronauts manage these challenges through their training and teamwork. Living in space requires not only physical and technical knowledge, but also mental resilience and problem-solving abilities. During their time in space, astronauts make significant contributions to science. The data they collect and the experiments they conduct expand our knowledge of space and guide future space missions. These brave explorers show us what is possible in the depths of space and broaden humanity's horizons. Living in space, though challenging, is equally exciting. The experiences of astronauts show us what life is like in space and how these challenges are managed. Their stories inspire us and motivate us to explore space further. Today, we discuss the challenges faced by astronauts living in space. I hope this journey has helped you understand how complex and fascinating life in space is. It's hard not to admire these brave explorers who choose to live and work in the depths of space. If you want to learn more about space and take a step into this fascinating world, stay tuned to our channel and follow our upcoming videos. See you on our next journey into the depths of space.